Hi, I'm Jen. You don't know me, that's okay. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, I don't know. But I'm here because there's a lot of you who do not understand why Russia is the aggressor in the Ukrainian versus Russia war, and I will explain why. So in 1991, Ukraine seceded from the Soviet Union December 1st, 1991, so that they could become their own independent country. Now, how important is this for you to know? Because 92% of Ukrainians wanted to be independent. They voted yes to being independent and seceding from Soviet Russia. Now, they still had nuclear warheads. So 1994, January 4th, 1994, they decided that they were going to become a non-proliferation treaty state, a nuclear non-proliferation treaty state, NPT state, which literally means that they do not have nuclear weapons. Russia at that time decided that they were going to purchase the uranium from those warheads if Ukraine gave them to them, so that way they could pursue being an NPT state. Now, why is this important? Because if you don't understand, I would suggest you please read the Budapest Memorandum on security assurance, because December 5th, 1994, in it, Russia, the UK, the United States, all said that they would honor Ukraine's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and independence, and promise not to threaten or use force on Ukraine. 1994. Well, for those of you who are already looking at this going, Russia, you agreed to this, 1994. Well, let's bump into 2006. 2006, Russia shut off Ukraine's gas, which led to the economic breakdown, literally a shutdown between Ukraine and Russia. Now, why is this important? Russia's broke, has been broke. So in 2008, Vladimir Putin denied Ukraine sovereignty, and quote to George W. Bush, who was the president at that time, Ukraine is not even a real nation state, end quote. Okay, that same year, Russia invades Georgia, the country, and in that 5-year time in Russia invading Georgia, they continue to be an aggressor. Now, while this was going on, that same year again, Ukraine was in the talks with the EU regarding the association agreement contract. Now, what an association agreement contract basically states, it's a legally binding contract that allows Ukraine to freely develop its political, legal, and trading ties with the EU, which would promote their economic structure greatly. In 2014, Russia then seized Crimea, which many of you recognize the name, but maybe don't recognize the importance of how this ties into Ukraine. See, Crimea is a Ukrainian peninsula, but none of you knew that. So because of the actions of Russia, which they slipped in quick and silent, Crimea seceded back to Russia because they could not handle the military attacks that Russia sent directly to Crimea. So they had to leave Ukraine under threat of force from Vladimir Putin. And it's so crazy because the same year, Russia is back and still antagonizing Ukraine, because this time they are, oh my gosh, they are promoting within Ukraine. They are antagonizing Ukraine with separatist groups trying to claim government buildings across Ukraine's Donbas region. And this is not quite bringing us to 2002, but it leads into it, I assure you, because September 5th, 2014, the first thing that you have to understand is Ukraine was winning. So Russia was like, okay, well, we need a ceasefire. So they went into the first Minsk agreement. Now, the Minsk agreement was supposed to ceasefire Ukraine and Russia from fighting each other. Russia did not stop the ceasefire. This is the first thing you have to understand. Russia is the aggressor. So let me move on this. Russia did not stop the ceasefire. Ukraine and Russia still kept fighting. And they kept fighting with Ukraine still winning, to the point where it led to Minsk Agreement number 2. Now, this is where Russia cries out that Donbas is a security zone. Yeah, no, none of us are buying it. Not especially with Crimea being what it was. Now, this is important because Donald Trump fans, you're going to love this. 2017, Donald Trump approved lethal arms sales to Ukraine. Yes, I said that correctly. It is a political fact. So prior to that, under President Obama, our U.S. Congress created the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, which authorized hundreds of millions of dollars in addition to military aid to Ukraine. Trump don't have his facts right, blaming Joe Biden for something he didn't do. So why is Trump mad specifically at Zelensky? Well, 2019, you might have remembered Trump had his first impeachment because he had a telephone call with Zelensky asking him to investigate Joe Biden. So why is Russia a part of all this?